Hey everybody, it's Curtis here from Data Crunch, and today I'm going to be going over 4 steps that you can take to get more budget and improve your ROI using a data training approach. This is a little workbook that we built to help you guys through this. So this is a process we've used a lot in the past. Hopefully it'll help out. And we built this because a lot is expected from learning and development leaders nowadays. They're expected to build their critical skills in their organization. They're expected to actually grow the business and move business goals along. And they have to prove the value of their courses. And these are things we're reading in Gartner, in Forrester. That research is also available on our site. But this is a trend that is currently happening in L&D. So again, what we see, what Gartner sees, what Forrester sees, is that the more aligned an L&D leader is with the business and the business metrics, the better off they'll do. There's more promotions. You can keep your job. You won't be in danger of losing that. And then also just more respect from business leaders and the ability to do more with your position to train the company, because they will see you as someone who is moving the business along and not just programming training that they don't know if it's valuable or not. So focusing on training and business value is really, really important. We're going to talk about how to do that. So the 2 places we find that are good to start are, you want to look at your training model that you're using, and you also want to look at your area of focus. So the training model we find works best is the consultative with a deliverable model. So you want to treat training as though it is a consulting engagement as well as a training engagement, and you want to come away from that training with some sort of deliverable as though it had been a consulting engagement. And that not only helps train people better because they're doing the training in the context of something valuable for the business, but the business also gets something valuable immediately after the training is done. So we'll get into more of the details on this later, but this is a really important model to understand to get the most value you can out of training. Secondly, an area of focus we find is really high leverage is focusing on data and analytics training. This could be data visualization, it could be data science, it could be data engineering. The fact is, all lines of business have data, vast amounts of data, and almost always that data is being underutilized or it's in inefficient processes. So with a training that's focused on data analytics, you can not only improve those processes, which reduces costs to the organization, but you can also find insights that help the business grow and help it be more profitable. And so any line of business, if you're trying to improve any line of business as an L&D leader, data analytics almost assuredly has something that can help and help a significant amount. So we recommend starting in those 2 areas. We've been doing this for several years now. We've done it with lots of clients you've probably heard of. So these tools work, this approach works, and hopefully it's helpful to you. So the 4 steps, what are they? Number 1, you want to identify a specific and solvable business lead, preferably one that's solvable quickly. Number 2, you want to become a strategic business ally. We'll talk about how to do that. Number 3, you want to create a class format that produces a deliverable that's valuable to the business. And lastly, you want to report on the outcomes that the business cares about. So let's get into the details of how to do this. So identifying a specific solvable business need is number 1. And so you can have discussions with stakeholders, and you want to be looking for problems that are really painful, problems that can be solved relatively quickly, and that have a direct quantifiable metric, a business metric associated with those problems. Okay, and some of these metrics you might be looking for are, we want to increase our profits, we want to increase our sales, we want to increase our revenue, we want to reduce cost, and so forth. Customer retention, churn rate. As in these interviews and in these discussions with your business stakeholders, you want to really understand what's important to them, what are they worried about, and then what is the metric that if you increase it or optimize for that metric, what will solve their problem? Will that metric then solve their problem? And that's what you want to optimize the class for. So again, business leaders typically, they want to see that a class goes well and there's good course evals. But at the end of the day, they're not worried about course evals. They're worried about making profit or reducing cost, because that is what keeps the business alive. So you need to identify those specific problems that they're concerned about. What are the metrics that they're concerned about? And then build your case around those things. Okay. We do have some supporting material to help you think through this process. It's a decision matrix tool. You can download that on our site, and it helps you think through, what insights, what decisions do these people need to make, what specific objectives do they have, what are the data sources, the key metrics, the key segments, all those things. There's examples there that'll help you think through this process. Okay. Number 2, you want to become a strategic ally. So don't wait to be asked for the training that is needed. As you're doing these interviews and finding problems that the business has, you want to be proactive and pitch training that solves those specific problems. Okay, and then describe the results of the training you're pitching in those terms, in the terms that the business users understand and care about. Okay, so for example, if we run this data viz class, or it could be anything, a Java class or a leadership class, you can expect X amount of hours of cost savings per month, which equals, maybe 90,000 a year, maybe more, maybe a little bit less. But the point is, they understand $90,000 of cost savings is a direct impact on the business. So the more you can get to those kinds of terms, the more they are going to listen to you and see you as a strategic ally for the business. Now, sometimes if it's a leadership course or something like this, maybe you can't get directly to a number in terms of cost savings or things like this, but there's always a way to back into it. So if you're doing a leadership course and there's some research on how leadership courses increase the efficiency of the business, and then that translates into a certain amount of cost savings, then you can kind of go down the logical argument there and eventually get to a number. But in the end, you want to get to a metric again that they care about and make a solid argument for how that metric is going to be optimized based on your training. Okay, and trainings are easier to do that with. Data and analytics training is much easier because it's right there with those metrics. But you can do it with any course that you're doing. So we do have, again, another piece of supporting material that can help you out here. It's a downloadable calculator where you can say, if we bring in a trainer versus trying to do this ourselves for a piece of technical training, how much time are we going to save, and how does that translate into actual bottom line dollars for the business? So hopefully that is helpful to you in working through these steps. Number 3, create a class format that produces a deliverable. So not all vendors do this, and most of them don't. But if you are bringing in a vendor or designing a class on your own, especially if you're bringing in a vendor, you're bringing in experts. And so you should expect those experts to not only teach a course that the students enjoy, but also produce something of value with their skills for the business. And then help the students do that as well. So the key here is to use the training time to not only train, but produce some sort of deliverable. Okay? And in data analytics world, this could be a dashboard of decisions that someone in the business line needs to make, right? And it could be transforming reports into a more understandable dashboard that then they can see instantly what they need to do, and then they can save time and money. Or it could be optimizing a data pipeline process. A lot of times these are very inefficient. And a lot of times you can go from a process that takes weeks sometimes down to a process that takes minutes. And so that, again, is a direct efficiency gain for the business. And that you should be producing that while you are being trained, or while the team is being trained, so that you get both benefits. Okay, so again, if you're doing this, students retain the skills better because they're working on something that's valuable to the business. The business gets instant value. That's important in proving ROI, because you can show, hey, like we actually have something of value here beyond even the skills that we learned. We produce something for the business. Okay, so that gives you immediate ROI. So you should always be looking for how to do that with your courses. Supporting materials, here's the checklist that we use for all of our courses that goes through and asks, do we have what we need to produce a deliverable valuable to the business based on our data visualization and data analytics and data science courses. So we make sure that this is all checked off before we do a training course, and you can use this for other data courses that you're doing, or you can use it for other courses just as a template. Okay, and then finally, reporting on the outcomes. If you've done everything up until this point, this should be really easy because you've already identified the problem, you've already identified the business metrics you need to optimize, you've already produced a deliverable that optimizes those metrics, And so now you just have to report on it. So now you just have to remember that while you're reporting, you don't just report on course evaluation outcomes, you report on actual business outcomes that the business cares about. Okay, and you can, the calculator that we have available to you in step 2 that we showed you, you can download that and use that for this reporting as well. Okay, and that's going to show immediate benefit for the business. So supporting material here we do have an example of a workbook deliverable for a data analytics course, data visualization course, so you can kind of see what a deliverable would look like and how you could report on that. So go ahead and download that from our site if that is helpful to you. Okay, and then we just have a piece here. If you want to download this workbook, print off this page, we have an area for you to go through and each of these steps to do your interviews and list the specific painful problems and the metrics. And number 2, find classes that will address those concerns. Number 3, figure out what the deliverables are going to be for each of those courses. And then number 4, basically list your metrics and list, how much you think you can improve those metrics, and that's what you're going to report on when you're done with this process. And then you just do this over and over again as you are getting courses, instructor-led courses for your organization. So again, here's all the supporting material. You can download it all from our website. If you do need additional support and help working through these steps, we have a lot of really great instructors that customize and deliver trainings in data and analytics in this exact way. Okay, you can see all of our courses on our site, but all of them are built so that they solve specific acute business problems and optimize metrics the business cares about. They all help you become a strategic ally because the business can see that you're optimizing for what they care about. All of these courses produce a deliverable that you can hand over to the business when they're done, and they all increase business metrics. So you can see all of them on our site. We'd love to chat with you about how any of these could be applied across your business to get you immediate ROI. So go ahead and give us a call. Instructor-led data analytics training, again, can have a huge impact on what you're doing. Everybody has data. All business lines have data. This is applicable across the board. So please contact us and we'll get you ROI in under 30 days. So thank you for your time, and we hope to be chatting with you guys.